how to finish off the lining at the back of the zip. So this is the strapless dress that we were making. I have the seam allowance of my lining pressed back, so my 1.5 seam allowance has been pressed back, and we now need to finish the lining off down the zip. But just even before we do that, one little tip for you. My invisible zip was too long for the dress, which is usual. So as you can see, I've got quite a little bit of extra zip here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to get rid of that. So at this section here, where it's been finished sewn into the seam, I'm just going to do a couple of little lines of stitching across with the machine. Literally just go over and back a few times, like that. Trim off your threads, and then literally just cut the zip, and that sorts that out. Okay, so literally just cut off the extra piece, and now that'll be much tidier going inside the dress. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is, I'm just going to give myself a little bit more space here to work and to show you what I'm doing. We're going to pin the lining down along the side of the zip. Okay, so you can open the dress for this to make it a little bit easier, to make sure that you're not pinning right through. Make sure that this section here is completely flat as you turn it in. Okay, so that's just all lovely and flat, and I'm turning it right in on itself, and then I'm just going to pin along there. So I'm leaving a gap of about 4 mil between the teeth of the zip and where the lining is finishing, because you obviously want to make sure that your zip will close. You want to leave room for the puller of the zip. Then you simply pin the whole way along. This is one of the few jobs I do actually pin, would you believe? So actually a good guide, if you notice on the zip, there's actually, the way that's woven, there's kind of a little line in the middle. When you look at it really closely, you can see that. You can actually use that as the guide to put your lining to if you wish. Just kind of makes it really handy. And all the way down to the bottom. And what I tend to prefer to do is actually just leave the last kind of 1.5 centimeters free, and it just allows for the lining to be stitched nice and evenly on both sides, and you don't end up with like a funny pull or anything just there. So I just literally sew down as far as about 2 centimeters from where the zip would actually come all the way open to, if that makes sense. And then obviously you pin the other side in the same way. Again, making sure that that's nice and open. Everything's sitting flat. Roll it over. And then pin the whole way along. Again, making sure to leave enough room for the puller to actually close. So that little line on the actual tape of the zip is quite a handy guide to use. And then we're literally going to slip stitch the lining to the tape of the zip. Okay. So I'll just zip it up again so you can see that. Okay. So that's it, pinned the whole way. So again, just open it. And now we're going to slip stitch along here. Okay, so I have my needle and thread ready. Start off up the top. This isn't the best sewing needle in the world, I have to admit. I prefer a much finer one. And you can leave a little tail, you can trim that off afterwards. And we're going to do a little back tack in here, or anywhere nice and neat and discreet. No harm in doing a second one, just to make sure that doesn't come out. And then what you want to do is catch the tape of the zip, ensuring that you don't come through to the right side of the dress. So you're literally only catching the tape, and you're slipping the needle about 1 centimetre along. Okay, and I'm going to do the same thing again. So go in at the same point where you've come out, and slip stitch. Just to show you that again, maybe just even from a slightly different angle. So where the thread came out, at that same point I put the needle back into the tape of the zip, and I come out about 1 centimetre further on. So in line of where I came out. So I'm coming out through the lining and the tape, but when I go back in, I'm just going back in through the tape, and then back out through the two. And you simply continue that the whole way along and back up the other side. And that is a slip stitch to finish off the back of your zip. And that goes for a zip anywhere on a dress or a bodice or a skirt or a facing, anything at all, anywhere that you need to finish off the lining and the fabric at the back of the zip. And that's it.